Okay, so we saw branches and logic and variables were super important for the content. Well, let's start talking about styling the content. And there's a bunch of different ways, and we'll start with simply marking up content differently. So if you go into the Harlow documentation, you'll see things like you can make things italic, and there's other just different types of markup you can do. So let's play with some of that really right here. So I'm going to go to what we just did, the expressive choice with this welcome. And I want that to be the headline. So I'm going to actually put it on its own line. And I'm just going to put a pound in front of it. Now, what that pound will do is actually turn that into an H1 element. If you're familiar with HTML, there's the heading elements, and there's H1 through H6, and each one has a different semantic meaning of how headliney, I guess you could say, it is. So a headline might be the name of an article, right? You might use an H1, then you might have a subhead or something through the text, so you make it an H2 or even an H3 as a subhead. These are what we use those for. So I'm going to just simply put that right there, close that, and I'm going to just play it from here, and I have to type in my name, right? And so now you see this giant welcome Commissioner Ripka, right? So it's made it this big headline. So if we actually just inspect it, you'll see that it's just writing HTML here, right? So I just told it basically to make an H1 element. The rest of this, some of this is kind of confusing because they're using their own custom tags. And I teach you in web design, you don't just make up tags, but the truth is you can just make up tags. I just tell them that you're not supposed to keep people using the only tags that we use because they have meaning. And so we could change that. If we want to make it an H2 tag, we add 2 of these, right? And I'll go here and just real quick to play it, right, again. And notice it got smaller. Now, the truth is this is whatever CSS they're using in the back end here. Someone has written something called CSS Cascading Stylesheets, and that's how you design the web, right? And every browser has a default style, and then every web page, a designer like writes some styles, and that's what's going on here. And we can absolutely override this if we wanted to. So let's look at a way to do that really quickly. And we'll get into this more because when we start changing backgrounds and stuff. But let me go into Edit Story Style Sheet. And now what did I used 2 tabs here. So that's an H2 element. And this is the way you write HTML. And so I'm going to change the color. So I'm going to change the color and I'm just going to change it to red. And this would be the what you add for that. And now when I go to here, right, Ripka, see, now this H2 has become red. Now the size again is set by the thing, so I could have just as easily changed the size. So if I edit the story sheet and I don't like that size, I'll say font size, I don't know, 24 pixels. And once again, here, right, and now it'll be smaller here, right? So we can override anything stylistically we want, but let's go back to markup here. So in the markup, I wanted something to be italics, right? So again, we look over here and we see italics is these 2 slashes. So we can go ahead and say, where am I? Right? Say you've been as the new MLB commissioner, right? And so now this one will come out as, oh man, right? New MLB commissioner. And so this has really probably just been wrapped in some kind of an M. Let's see this I tag here. Now the truth is you can use that markup here, and you can go through this. You can use these. There's things like bulleted lists and numbered lists, right? So if we wanted to say your choices, let's go back here, right? We want to see the choices here. I'm going to say 0, 0. That's going to make a numbered list, and I put the 0 there, and it will create the numbers. So I'm going to close that. Once again, go into play mode. And of course, there we go. Whatever. See, now we have this as a numbered list. So we can use those markup things. However, you can just, if you know HTML, you can actually write your own HTML. anywhere you want in this. So let's say if I wanted to turn this into an H2 without that markup, I would just say H2, H2. And that will render as an H2 tag. Remember, we wrote that break tag in an earlier video. And so that's how you can really change, really any of the things there. We'll get a little further deeper into it as we actually really design this page nice in further videos.